All right, and here we go. We are live. Happy Saturday, everybody. My name is Chris, and this is my channel. We love comics. Thank you, one and all, for taking the time to watch one of my videos, whether you're about to watch this live or you're watching it later on. I always appreciate each and every one of you and hope you are enjoying your weekend. I got an unboxing, and it's not a comic I've ever had before. I've never purchased this book. I would love to get this character's first appearance, but it is a modern day grail, so I got the next best thing. Got a really cheap price, in my opinion. And as usual, the people that are in the live chat, or if you're watching this later on, I always love to hear what somebody would have comfortably paid for this comic that I'm about to do an unboxing with. And then I'll tell you the price that I paid. So I always appreciate audience participation. And speaking of audience, we've already got GT Key Comic in the live chat, one of my moderators. Welcome to see you. Hope you're doing well. While I'm waiting for people to see that I am live, I want to give a shout out to all of my Patreon members. If you want to be a Patreon member, I do a shout out every single video. It's my way of saying thank you, no matter how much you contribute. If you do the minimum or you do whatever amount, I am appreciative no matter what. So anyone that adds themselves to my Patreon at patreon.com/we love comics and becomes a paid member will get a shout out for as long as they are a paid member, every single video I do. If you prefer me to do a shout out to maybe your Instagram page or Facebook page or YouTube channel, for example, instead of just giving out your first name, please let me know, and I have no problem with doing that. So, Carl, Sip, Scott, Michael B, Kevin W, James R, Herbert R, Dan L, Kim N, Annabelle N. And if you have a Facebook page, which I'm sure many of you do, if you want to look up Darth Bleak, he wrote a book which he sent me, and I'm going to do in a video soon. I have a potential surprise for you guys, so I wanted to message. I messaged him earlier, waiting for a response, and I'll be doing a video about that. But if you go to Stephen L. Turk, author, on Facebook, tell him We Love Comics sent you. Go check out his book. He just wrote a book. He's got a series of books coming out. As far as I know, he's about to complete his second version of second part of the book, and I'd love to help promote him. So please go check him out at Stephen L. Turk, author, on Facebook. And then last but not least, we have, if you have Instagram, go to Silver Age Surfer _comics. And again, tell them We Love Comics sent you. So if you want to join my Patreon, you'll always be listed as long as you're a paid member. The way it works is the person that does have the highest amount will always be mentioned last. That's my way of saying thank you to that person, but make sure everybody is not forgotten. So even if you did the bare minimum, that's perfectly fine with me. Um, Also, if I can get up to 20 paid members, and currently we have 12, there's some giveaways I'm going to be giving away every single month. I have at least 20 or so paid members. The more members, the higher and better the prizes are. So, again, you do not have to have a specific amount. It's only $2 minimum to join anyone's Patreon account. So you could do the minimum and still qualify, but you will get one entry for every $2 that you contribute to my We Love Comics Patreon membership. And of course, from month to month, you can change that at any time. So check that out. You can pause the video if you want to see all the giveaways. And once I get to that amount, I'll do a better detail of the prizes. I did that in my last auction. So if you want to see, like, for example, some of the baseball cards, unopened packs, go see the auction I did about 2 weeks ago, and I show that there. I'm also looking to acquire some comics via trade. It's a good way for both parties to save money, save literally hundreds of dollars extra in taxes, and not have to worry about the government putting their hand out asking for more around April 15th for a purchase of a comic book because they do not charge taxes with trades. So, with that being said, let me put on the video camera. Anybody that wants to hit the like button or subscribe button, that's awesome. But here is the box. Somebody actually listen to me. There's only one comic in here, and no, it's not graded. But they were kind enough when I asked them if they could please put it in a box. They went above and beyond, and very excited to get this book. Now, like I said, this is not the first appearance of this character. But that first appearance is pretty rare and is very expensive. So it's a book I would maybe even consider for a trade. I don't know, because it's not a mainstream superhero. It is a modern superhero, so you might be able to deduct what this might be. And if you want to put it in the comments section, if you're here now watching this live, or later on, if you want to speculate, by all means, please do. But I recommend, if somebody wants to, when I say, how much would you be willing to pay for this book, go on eBay and see how much these sell for, because obviously anybody'd say, "Oh, I'd pay as much as $10 for a book." Well, that'd be great. Who wouldn't want to spend $10, for example, on an Amazing Fantasy 15? You're not going to find one. So I'm talking about what would be the most you would realistically pay for a book, not what you wish the price would be. And then, of course, like I said, I will give you what I paid for it. I definitely will be replacing the bag and board. They taped it with regular tape, which you guys know me. I don't like when they do that, but not everybody knows what's going on or how to do things completely properly, but they only did one corner. So let's get rid of that, because otherwise it makes the book look like garbage. All right, so there are no color breaks that I can see, but there are some non-color break increases. Corners are sharp. Of course, I'd have to look at the entire book. So this has 9/8 potential, but it would have to have a pressing. Because like I said, there's at least 2 or 3 non-color break increases along the spine. So without a pressing, you would never have a 9/8 as a potential. But overall, looks pretty good. Let's show the book. So we got, it's Usagi, I forget how it's pronounced. Usagi Yojimbo, issue number 1. This is a first print. Now you can see there's something special. There is a signature. It is signed and remarked by the creator, Stan Sakai. So this has 9/8 potential if it's pressed. Now, again, like I said, without a pressing, it would probably get a 9/2 to a 9/4 because of the non-color break increases. A pressing could get that out completely. So before I mention the price, if you want to participate in it, tell me in the live chat if you're watching this live, or pause the video and comment in the comment section if you're watching this later, what would be the maximum amount you would have paid for this book? Now, this wasn't a buy now or best offer. This one was an auction. So keep that in mind with how high a bidding could go on this book. So if I'm going to give people a minute or two to take a look on eBay and think about what would be the highest amount they would feel comfortable with owning this book. Now, the first appearance of this character is in Albedo issue number 2. I'm sorry, number 1. No, it is number 2, but they don't show him on the cover. I have Albedo issue number 3, which is his second appearance, but again, he's not on the cover. It's not until issue 4 where he has his first cover appearance. GTK, give me a minute or two and I'll talk about that. But if anybody wants to mention what the price is, I'll leave it up to them. I'm not going to make them wait too long, and then I'll answer that question really quick. This, like I said, is signed, and there's a remark. It's not technically a sketch because it's a small little drawing, so they consider it a remark, by Stan Sakai. I won this because it ended late at night for $127.50. And with the shipping and handling and taxes, it came out to $145.46, which is a really good price, even if it wasn't signed. So GTK Comics said he'd pay up to $250 for this book, which unsigned would still be a good deal. I'm absolutely going to be getting this book graded eventually. There's no hurry because, there's no movie or TV show coming out, at least as far as I know. So there's no rush to get this one's graded, but I absolutely will be getting this graded. So with after taxes and shipping and handling, only $145.46 for a high grade potential 9.8 of this book. So if you can get your hands on one, yeah, GTK Kids Comics says maybe another 50 for the remark, which that's probably about right for that because I these days a lot of people who sign books actually will charge you. So he would have paid about 300 comfortably for this book signed and autographed and with the remark. I got it for 145 after shipping and handling taxes. It was a late night, I think like 2 or 3 in the morning, so not many people are up, but I have because, my job is now to buy comics and turn around and sell them every now and then with auctions. I'm always searching for deals and they are always out there. So yeah, this isn't a popular superhero or anything like that, but this kind of caught the independent realm by storm. I mean, this was originally a character that was basically made as a joke, but then it really started to sell and people really liked the character and they turned it into a serious book, but it was so underprinted, especially the Albedo comic. This one, I'm sure, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you're not talking millions of copies, especially high grade, and especially with a signature and remark. There's not going to be tons of them, but it's not going to be as rare as the first appearance ever, which is usually the case in a lot of books that become popular. Bronze Page Comic says 200 for a 9.6. Uh, Now, is that with a signature and a remark, or is that just the comic itself? Because if you could find the 9.6 graded with a remark and signature for that price, I would tell people to go out and buy it, right away. But let me see what he says. Again, I think you got a decent deal on the book. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a steal on it, but I absolutely paid below what many people. If you actually look at sales of stuff that I bought on eBay, I tend to be either the lowest or close to the bottom of what people paid for the same exact book in the same exact scenario. So I always tend to get deals, and that's why I always tell people when you're going to buy something, you really should look up the price of a book and don't go by what people are selling it for. Base it on if there's any sales. Now, if it's a rarer book and there's no sales, you can't do that. You can only base it on what's for sale. But you really should have that information so you know what you're bidding, what maximum you would bid, and feel comfortable with, and knowing still that you got a good deal. I refuse to overpay for any book, even the grails that I'm looking for via trade, because I always know that for a missed opportunity and another missed opportunity and another missed opportunity, eventually an opportunity that will present itself to be fair or maybe even in your favor will always arrive. So I don't have that fear of missing out. And that's why I can't wait for this one book to show up. There's been a little situations here and there that delayed it a little bit, but if everything is as the seller said, one of the books I'm looking to acquire via trade, I was able to purchase for about $2,000 under its current value. So that is a book that somebody tried to do a trade with me, and they wanted way too much for me to make the deal. And it's like, as much as I want the book, I'm not going to overspend. Now, I don't mind going a little bit over if it gets me a key issue, but to give away an extra $1,000 or $2 worth of stuff, I'll wait for another opportunity. And a lower grade presented itself as an opportunity, but at a fairer price. As a matter of fact, like I said, I will have saved about $2,000 off of what the current sales for the grade is, provided I get it and provided the person isn't a scammer. We'll find out once I get it. So that is the book. Never owned this book before. Like I said, the only other book I have is Albedo #3, which is his second appearance ever. Which, of course, second appearances for these kind of characters don't really show much value. It's always the first appearance or #1 issues, and that's why getting it with the signature and the reverb with the remark is going to make it a little bit rarer and definitely a way to get it and stand out. GTK Comic did say earlier he thought it was the Crow, which, by the way, I bought this. I did an unboxing about a week or two ago. This is Caliber Presents #1, which is actually the first appearance of the Crow. So nice that you said that. But while that part is over, again, I want to show people about the shout out for all the people in the in my Patreon. If you want to join my Patreon, just go to patreon.com/we love comics. Got the giveaway once we get to 20 paid members. Right now we're currently at 12. Let's address that particular statement, that question that GG Comics asked. So if anybody's interested in that, they can continue on, but I won't make too much of a statement on it because it's too early to tell. And they said, any thoughts on PSA entering the comic grading market? I saw a video yesterday from Mighty Comics and Collectibles. As usual, I'm subscribed to him, so if anybody's not going to his channel, I always recommend him. Great guy. We think alike a lot of times, but definitely have respect for him. So check out his channel if you ever get the chance. I saw the images of what the slab looks like. To me, the label is extremely generic. There's nothing about it that screams different, exciting. Um, yeah, there's a little bit of a frosting on the edges. Now, again, these could be prototypes because they could be changed or be different. Who knows? But the case doesn't look anything special. And from what I saw, and again, this is prototype, so you don't know if that's going to change, it has no inner welling. In other words, it doesn't have that protective plastic inner well inside the case, which means anytime anybody moves that book, whether they're relocating or just taking it out of the thing to look at or to sell it to, mail it to somebody, without that inner lining, the chances of, especially the corners and the edges of the book getting damaged, because even if it moves a millimeter, that's still going to eventually cause damage to the book. So I don't like that. Also depends on the price, but this is what I'll say. I mean, obviously they're trying to take away some of the business from CGC, and if they do it right, they could absolutely do that. But in my opinion, from my experience with PSA grading baseball cards, back in the days, people used to have pretty much Beckett and PSA for grading sports cards, for example, because they graded other cards too, but mainly sports cards. The reason PSA for a while got really popular is because they were giving out like 9.8s and 10s, like they were giving out water at a desert party. And Beckett was very harsh in their gradings. Now, from what I understand recently, according to Mighty Comics and Collectibles, that's actually switched, where Beckett actually gives better grades, which I don't know if I agree with, because I'll show you really quick. I'll put the video camera back on. I sent and I did an unboxing about this. I sent this to Beckett this year, and this was a LeBron James signature series card. It came back with a 10 autograph, but only an 8.5 grade. And I thought this book had a potential for a 9.95 or a 10. So in my opinion, I always thought Beckett was very harsh with their grading. So like I said, that can change. But here's the thing. The main reason that people, on average, submit their books to CGC, and I say on average because not everybody does everything the same, and I would never assume that, but a lot of people, especially the ones I watch on videos, not even people that I'm subscribed to, by the way, um, the primary reason that people use CGC is because they're going to get the best resale value. And CGC has been pretty known to be very giving with grades. Because I've seen, and you could watch on many people's videos all around the comic book community, where somebody will think, I've seen books where somebody was, they guess the grade before they do the unboxing like I do. And there was one, I don't remember who it was because this was months ago, that said their book's about a 9.0 and it came back a 9.8. And they even pointed out several spine ticks and still got a 9.8. And yet, they said the usual thing I hear from people that grade their books with that company is, oh, I'll take it. I've seen many a time where they will give better grades, and especially if you're somebody that gives them a lot of business, the chances of a 9.9 for a giant size X-Men #1, money. So if PSA grades books like they're supposed to fairly, and remember, it's all subject to somebody's opinion. If people get their books back after trying them out and find out that they're very harsh on their grades, they're not going to succeed unless they basically give away their grading fees and basically do it for super cheap prices. Because not everybody grades books for the same reasons. But you have to go on the whole. That's why so many people are willing to look the other way with what CGC has done and has continued to do and continues to find out about books being switched and labels being switched, and to a point where it's allegedly said that the people in the CGC company knew about it. I mean, obviously, I'm not working for the company, so I don't know. Which I think it's just so disappointing because there are people that assume I'm a CGC hater. I don't hate CGC. I have many CGC books. I just think anybody should be called out for their wrongdoings. Like if I was a Republican or a Democrat, which I'm neither, I'm actually an independent, but let's just say I'm a Republican, I'm not going to just vote for my party all the way up and down the ticket without researching people and seeing if they're worthy of my vote. And if they've done something corruptible, they should not get my vote just because they have the same interests as I do. And the same thing with the Democratic Party, same thing with Independent Party. It should be individuals based on what they're willing to do, and if they're honest. If you just go with something just because it benefits you in some way, and you overlook what's wrong, eventually you're going to be burned. And many people cannot have that foresight to see that. You do more long-term damage and you hurt other buyers. So yeah, you may think your book is going to get a 9.0 and you get a 9.8 and you keep that 9.8 and you sell that 9.8 and somebody ends up spending 9.8 money on a book that should have been a 9.0. So you're basically stealing from people. Because if you know that the book is given an unfair grade and you just take advantage of that mistake or that purposely done grade and you make that money knowing that somebody else is going to end up with a lower graded book than what they really thought it was, you're literally stealing money from people. That's dishonest. And that's why you've seen, if you watch my live videos that I've done with every PGX book I've ever sent in, there are two occasions where I so disagreed with the grade that I literally ripped them open live. One of them was an Amazing Spider-Man #129 and had them regraded to the grade that I really believed it should be. Another time was they forgot with one of my Hulk 181s, they forgot to write that it's missing the Marvel value stamp. Because only one of my Hulk 181s I bought knowing it didn't have the Marvel value stamp. And I bought it because it was dual signed. And for the price I got for it, even without the Marvel value stamp, was worth it. But when it came back, not mentioning that the Marvel stamp is missing, I could have been like so many other people and just said, oh, well, no one will know. I could easily sell that book and make a profit, but you're being dishonest. I knew the Marvel stamp wasn't in there, and when I got the grade and they forgot to mention that, I sent it in the very next month and had them redo it. And I still have the book today. I mean, I could show it. So there's a thing called being ethical, being honest. Everything should not be about the most money, but unfortunately, a lot of that is. So PSA might have a chance, but I'm telling you right off the bat, if people send in books to theirs and it takes forever, and the cases are not protected in any way different from the cases that are out there with all the other companies. So in other words, they haven't done anything to improve it. If it doesn't have an inner welling to protect the comic, and the labels are boring, and they end up charging the same price as CGC, and it ends up that they are harsh with the gradings, they're not going to succeed. Now, they'll get business because PSA does have business because, they are a known company. But if people are not happy with the service, it doesn't matter what they do. So, unfortunately, many channels will never tell you the in and outs of businesses, how they work. They'll just focus on money. They'll focus on, getting the best grades. I don't want the best grade. I want the fair grade. I don't want a 9.8 if my book is a 9.0. If I got a book that I thought was a 9.0 because it had obvious, let's say it had 4 or 5 color breaking creases, whatever amount of creases that break color that would allow it to get a 9.0, and I knew about it, and it came back a 9.8, I'm tearing that book out of the case and I'm resubmitting it. Now, if there's a minor little color breaking crease, you can still get a 9.8 because remember, a 10 is perfect, a 9.9 is almost perfect, a 9.8 is allowed to have one little minor defect. People seem to think that if you get a book that's a 9.8 that it has to look perfect. It can have one tiny little defect. So if there is a comic that has one tiny little color breaking crease, a microscopic little millimeter of a crease, it could still get a 9.8. I'm okay with that. But if it has 3 or 4 color breaking creases, like I've seen several different channels have books that they are blown away that they got a 9.8 from CGC and still took it and probably turned around and sold it for a profit. You're literally stealing from people. If that's the way you want to teach people to not have ethics, be careful who you follow. So it's a wait and see attitude with PSA. I have no problem with companies joining in because the more businesses that help supply us with what we want, the more competition, the better it is for us. Because if there's a monopoly, if everybody had their way in a majority of this community, the majority of the people would want CGC to be the only grading company. Well, then they could charge whatever amount they want. They can have an attitude of, well, you have us or nobody, so we can get away with mistakes or not have great customer service or ruin your book and not take responsibility. And they'll basically say, well, who are you going to go to? There's no one else. So competition is actually good and benefits us. And that's why I want companies like CGC to, when they make a mistake, whether intentional or not, own up to it and make it better. Not just use smoke and mirrors and say, well, all this stuff happened with hundreds and hundreds of books that literally stole from people by cheating them and lying to them. Instead of saying, well, look here, we're now going to give you 9.9s and 10s, and we're now going to lower the price temporarily a little bit to placate you, they should say, mistakes were made. We have now become under control of the situation. We are going to make sure it never happens again. We apologize for that. We have now figured it out, and we're going to do this, this, and this to keep that from happening because our customer service is priority one. Instead, they say, well, guess what? A week or two later, they're doing JSA signature verifications. Then they're doing the 9.9 and the 10s for books like, for example, a 9.9 Giant Size X-Men #1. They're getting people to be placated because they know that the majority of people care more about the money. And the grade will factor in that because a 9.9 is going to cost a heck of a lot more and going to be worth a heck of a lot more than a 9.8. You're talking sometimes could be multiple thousands of dollars. So, of course, the grade does matter in the value. You can't say one or the other is separate because that would be saying, well, I don't care about the grade, I just care about the money. Well, which one's going to get you more money, a 9.9 or a 9.2 of the same book? I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. So we'll see what PSA does. I don't see them becoming more than maybe a third or fourth option, maybe a second option at best, if they do everything right. Because from what I can see, CGC loyalists are the most loyal people, regardless of what that company does, that I've ever seen. It's like people in abusive relationships that justify the abuse because the abuser said they love them, and they give them flowers after they beat them. I've never seen such devotion for a company. But, people have the choice to do what they want. And that's one of the reasons why my channel is so hated, is because I'm not afraid to say it like it is. Many people will never admit the truth, and they'll just paint a pretty picture. All of YouTube is like that. All of social media is like that. I mean, just look at filters. Just imagine if you're talking to somebody, you're trying to date somebody, and you go on a dating website, and you see a person that looks exactly what you like, your type, whatever that is. And you find out when you meet them in person, they're nothing like that because they used all these filters. Well, they wasted your time, they wasted their time, and they lied. So even if I actually remembered, I'll give an example of this that happened to me before I met my wife. That I met this girl online, sent me her pictures, what I thought was very attractive. We ended up meeting, and when I saw her, she was not as she was nothing like her picture, but she was still somebody I would have been interested in. She was still attractive. I did not date her a second time, and I told her why. I said, the ironic part is, if you would have came across as who you really are, that would have been enough because I found you attractive. But the fact that you lied to me and misrepresented yourself wipes out how good looking you may or may not be, because you started our potential future with a lie. And I will not tolerate that. And I am glad to walk away. And like I said, this person was ended up being an attractive woman, at least to me. And I'm a picky person. But because the person posted fake pictures and made themselves out to be different, that says to me, one, they're insecure, two, they're dishonest, and three, they're not relationship ready. So people should not apologize for companies who do wrong just because they can benefit by selling those books or those products or those ideas and make money off it. You guys have seen, if you watch my videos and my auctions, I can easily sell my PGX books. I can sell them to people that are very happy. I can sell them for cheaper than what I could sell them for if I wanted maximum amount. And everybody wins, instead of one person making a lot of money taking advantage of other people. I don't understand the concept, but this is the world we live in these days. The good thing is, stuff like that doesn't last forever. So, will PSA be successful? Remains to be seen. If they do the best that they can, it's great for us because it's more competition, which makes the other companies have to do better, or at the very least, slip in and not be worse, not caring. So I am all for this company. Let's see what they do. I don't think I'd use them if they don't put the inner welling in. I find the labels that they showed to be very generic. If you're going to do the minimum, don't be surprised if you get the minimum back. So we'll see. Because again, the PSA labels and the PSA slabs that they showed could be prototypes and can change at any time. And maybe they listen to people's feedback and say, you know what? Maybe we should do this. Maybe we should add the inner lining. Maybe we should jazz up the label and make it more exciting, make it stand out. So, remains to be seen. So, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let's do today's surprise subscriber shoutouts. Um, if you like my AI art, I just thought I'd do something different. If you want to comment on it, either positive or negative, by all means, go for it. If you want to hit the thumbs up or thumbs down, I'll leave that up to you as long as it's true to your word of who you are. That's all great. But leave a comment after this video uploads and let me know what you would have thought about the comic I showed. But let's do today's surprise subscriber shout out. We're going to go with Alex Estrada, and we're going to go with Vinny Whitlock. Both of you are today's surprise subscriber shout-outs. That means if either of you are still here listening to this, thank you, by the way. But once the video uploads, you can leave a comment of a link to either your YouTube channel or video if you make them, social network, Or if you sell anything on Amazon, Etsy, or some other place, if you want to promote a link to something that you sell, you can do that. So I'll leave it up to you to decide which link you would do. Keep in mind, it has to be something that's available for all audiences. I'm not going to promote anything that's adult content. I'm not going to promote anything like pranking channels that potentially harm other people. It's got to be something suitable for all audiences. So it doesn't necessarily have to be comic book related, but those are going to be the best here on a comic book channel. But if you have, Instagram talking about how to buy sneakers, that's kid friendly, that's adult friendly, that's for all ages. I have no problem with sharing that. What I also recommend is if you leave a link, please just don't leave a link. Welcome people, introduce yourself, tell people if they click on the link where it's going to take them. Maybe give them an explanation of why they should click your link. Again, if you give the minimum, don't be surprised if you get the minimum. Also, keep in mind, all links will go directly into spam at first. This keeps any trolls or any spammers from putting inappropriate links on my videos. So I do have to check them and approve them. So if you see a link in the comment section, it means it has been approved and it will take you to somewhere appropriate. So if you see a link, go click on it, go check out and support our fellow comic book community and show them what a real community is all about. So anybody that hit the like button, thank you so much. Anybody that hit subscribe, that's awesome. Hopefully, I'll see you again in my next video. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, it is not you, it is not I, it is We Love Comics. I really appreciate anybody that came into the live chat. And if you're watching this later, I appreciate anybody that takes the time to watch or comment. And check out one of my mystery boxes. I just put a link in the live chat. It's also in the description. I sell mystery boxes anywhere from a generic box for $25 up to a platinum series for 5,000, and you're going to get some good books with that. Check out on YouTube, just type in We Love Comics mystery boxes, and you can see a couple of people that have bought from me before, unboxing videos, so you can see the kind of stuff that I will send. I make sure you get your money's worth. So thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and don't forget to have your trolls spayed